Imagine waking up, turning on your computer, and seeing a notification that your operating system is no longer safe to use. You've been using Windows 10 for years. It's stable, it's fast, and it does exactly what you need it to do. But suddenly, Microsoft has decided that your perfectly functional hardware is now a ticking time bomb. The tech world is in an absolute frenzy right now because hidden deep within recent policy changes and internal leaks, it appears Microsoft is accelerating the end of the line for Windows 10 much faster than anyone anticipated. We are talking about millions of users being locked out of vital security patches, effectively forcing them into a corner where they have to buy new hardware or risk everything. Even more shocking are the reports that Bill Gates himself is reportedly furious with the direction the current leadership is taking, as this move threatens to alienate the very user base that made Microsoft a global empire. Today, we are breaking down the secret timeline, the hardware lockouts, and exactly what you need to do to protect your data before the lights go out on the most popular operating system in the world. For over a decade, Windows 10 has been the backbone of global computing. It was supposed to be the last version of Windows, according to initial promises, a service that would just keep evolving. But things changed. Windows 11 arrived with its controversial TEM requirements, and suddenly, billions of dollars worth of high-end machinery became obsolete overnight in the eyes of Microsoft developers. But the real scandal isn't just that Windows 11 exists. It's that Microsoft is now reportedly sabotaging the update cycle for Windows 10 ahead of the official 2025 termination date. Users are reporting that certain cumulative updates are failing to install on older but capable processors, creating a soft lockout that leaves systems vulnerable to exploits right now, not a year from now. Think about the sheer scale of this. We are looking at an electronic waste catastrophe. If Microsoft successfully pushes through this early phase out, we are going to see millions of laptops and desktops heading to landfills simply because a software giant decided their silicon wasn't fancy enough anymore. This isn't just a tech issue. It's a massive economic hit to students, small businesses, and families who can't just drop $1,000 on a new PC because a corporation wants to pad its quarterly earnings with new license sales. The tension inside Microsoft is reportedly at an all-time high. Sources close to the company suggest that the legacy foundations within the firm, specifically those still aligned with the original vision of universal accessibility, are clashing with the new aggressive push toward AI-integrated hardware that requires the latest NPU chips. The reports regarding Bill Gates' reaction are particularly telling. While he hasn't been in day-to-day control for years, he remains the largest individual shareholder and the face of the brand's legacy. His vision was always a computer on every desk and in every home. By locking out millions of users, Microsoft is doing the exact opposite. They are creating a tiered society of computing where if you can't afford the latest AI PC, you are relegated to an insecure, second-class digital experience. This move is being seen by critics as a betrayal of the stability that Windows 10 promised. Let's look at the technical reality of what is happening under the hood. For the past few months, a series of updates known as KB patches have been causing significant issues for users on older hardware. While Microsoft officially claims these are just bugs, tech analysts are noticing a pattern. The updates seem to be looking for specific instruction sets that only exist in newer CPUs. When those sets aren't found, the update fails, and the system is left in a state of limbo. This is what many are calling a stealth termination. By making the updates impossible to install on older machines, Microsoft doesn't have to officially end support early. They just make the software unusable for those who refuse to upgrade. This brings us to the hardware lockout. Digital rights management and security protocols are being used as a shield to justify this. Microsoft argues that without the latest security features baked into the hardware, they can no longer guarantee the safety of Windows 10, but the community isn't buying it. We've seen modders and independent developers get Windows 11 running on machines that are 10 years old with zero performance issues. This proves that the requirements are artificial. They are business gates, not technical ones. When you see a perfectly capable i7 processor from a few years ago being told it can't handle a modern operating system, you know you're being sold a narrative, not a necessity. The impact on the enterprise sector is even more significant. Huge corporations and government agencies still rely on Windows 10 because it works with their legacy software. If Microsoft starts cutting off the air supply to these systems early, we could see massive disruptions in infrastructure. Imagine a hospital or a power plant whose systems suddenly can't update because the security patch requires a hardware feature their specialized computers don't have. The ripple effect of this decision is massive, and it's why so many people are speaking out. What does this mean for you, the average user? It means the clock is ticking much faster than you think. If you are on Windows 10 and you start seeing update errors, don't just ignore them. This might be the start of the lockout for your specific hardware configuration. People are feeling trapped. They like their computers. They don't want to switch to a new interface filled with widgets and AI sidebars that they never asked for. Windows 11 has been criticized for being more about data collection and advertising than user productivity, which makes the forced transition even more bitter. The controversy has sparked a massive interest in alternative operating systems. We are seeing a surge in people looking toward Linux or even keeping their machines offline as a way to protest. But that shouldn't be the solution. You paid for a license. You bought your hardware. You should be able to use it as long as the components are functional. The idea of planned obsolescence in the software world is reaching a fever pitch, and this secret acceleration of Windows 10's end is the smoking gun. Bill Gates' alleged fury stems from the potential long-term damage to the Microsoft brand. If users feel they are being bullied into upgrades, they might hop the fence to Apple or Chrome OS. The trust that takes decades to build can be dismantled in a single update cycle. Internal memos supposedly suggest that there was a plan to offer extended security updates for a fee to everyone, but the current strategy seems aimed at making that option so difficult and expensive that buying a new PC seems like the only logical choice. It's a classic squeeze play. Let's dive deeper into the AI aspect of this. Microsoft is betting everything on Copilot and AI integration. To run these features efficiently, they want users on new hardware that includes an NPU, or Neural Processing Unit. By ending Windows 10 support earlier than expected through these update failures, they are clearing the path for their AI-first future. But what if you don't want AI? What if you just want to browse the web, write a document, and edit some photos? You are being forced to pay for technology you might not even use, and you're being told your current PC is trash in the process. The environmental impact cannot be overstated. We are looking at a potential 400 million PCs being discarded over the next few years. That is a mountain of heavy metals and plastics that our planet simply doesn't need. Environmental advocacy groups are starting to put pressure on Microsoft to extend the life of Windows 10 indefinitely, perhaps by open sourcing the security core so the community can maintain it. But from a corporate perspective, that would be leaving billions of dollars on the table. It is a battle between profit and responsibility. And right now, profit seems to be winning. Now let's talk about the lockouts that are already happening. Some users have reported that upon trying to perform a clean install of Windows 10, they are being met with prompts that strongly steer them toward a Windows 11 purchase, sometimes even making it difficult to find the original Windows 10 ISO files. This is a subtle but effective way to discourage people from staying on the older platform. If you can't easily find the software you want to install, most people will just take the path of least resistance and move to the newer, more restrictive version. The tech community is fighting back though. There are now scripts and tools available online that bypass the compatibility checks. These come with their own risks. Using a modified version of an operating system can leave you open to other security threats. It puts the user in a precarious position. Do you stay on an unpatched Windows 10, move to a patched but unofficial Windows 11, or shell out the cash for a new machine? None of these options are ideal, and that's exactly why the frustration is so high. The rumors about the internal chaos at Microsoft suggest that even the developers are divided. Some believe that the security landscape has changed so much that Windows 10 is fundamentally incapable of being protected against modern threats. Others argue that Windows 10 is essentially the same kernel as Windows 11, and that these lockouts are purely a marketing decision. When you look at the evidence, the latter seems more likely. Most of the security features hyped in Windows 11, like virtualization-based security, are actually available in Windows 10 if you know how to turn them on. The hardware requirements are the only real difference. Bill Gates' reported anger is a reflection of the old-school tech philosophy versus the new. The old school believed in software as a tool for empowerment. The new school sees software as a subscription service and an advertising platform. Windows 10 was the last gasp of that old-school philosophy, and seeing it being prematurely dismantled is a sign of the times. It marks the end of the era where you truly owned your computer experience. Now you are just renting it until the next update tells you your time is up. So what should you do if you're currently on Windows 10? First, make sure you have a solid backup of all your data. This is crucial because if one of these failed updates half installs and bricks your system, you could lose everything. Second, look into the LTSC, or Long-Term Servicing Channel. This is a specific version of Windows 10 used by banks and hospitals that will receive updates for much longer than the consumer version. While it's harder for an average person to get a license, it is a viable path for those who are determined to stay on the platform. Third, consider the legal implications. In some regions, consumer protection laws are being looked at to see if forcing hardware obsolescence through software updates is actually legal. We might see class action lawsuits in the future. The millions of people locked out of updates are not just numbers, and elderly people trying to stay connected with their families. For many of these people, their computer is their window to the world. Taking away that security is a cruel move in the name of corporate growth. The backlash is growing, and it's becoming a PR nightmare for Microsoft. When we talk about being locked out, it's not just about the updates, it's about the ecosystem. We're starting to see third-party app developers drop support for Windows 10 as well, taking their cues from Microsoft. Browsers, creative suites, and games are beginning to flag Windows 10 as an unsupported environment. This creates a cascade effect, where the OS might still run, but nothing you want to use on it will. This is the ultimate soft lockout. You aren't banned, you're just ignored until you give in. Let's talk about the TPM 2.0 requirement again. This was the big one. Trusted Platform Module version 2.0. Microsoft says this is essential for modern security, but many PCs from 2017 and 2018 have TPM 1.2, which is still highly secure. The difference between the two is negligible for 99% of users. Yet, that 0.8 version difference is the line between having a working computer and a brick in the eyes of the Windows 11 installer. This is the kind of arbitrary gatekeeping that is causing so much fury. Wait, it gets even more interesting. There are reports that Microsoft is planning to introduce a subscription model for Windows 12. If that's the case, then pushing everyone onto Windows 11 now is just the first step in getting people used to the idea that they don't own their OS. They want everyone on the new hardware and the new architecture, so that when the subscription model launches, there's no escape. Windows 10 is the last barrier to this plan. It represents a version of Windows that you bought once and used forever. That is a business model Microsoft wants to destroy. The fury of Bill Gates, as reported, might also be about the move away from the open nature of the PC. For decades, the PC was the open alternative to the closed ecosystem of Apple. You could build your own, swap parts, and install what you wanted. But with these hardware lockouts and mandatory cloud accounts for Windows 11, the PC is becoming just as closed as a tablet or a phone. This is a fundamental shift in what a computer is. It's no longer a general-purpose machine. It's a terminal for Microsoft services. The millions of people who are being locked out should know they have a voice. The more people who refuse to upgrade and instead look for ways to extend their current hardware, the more pressure it puts on Microsoft to change course. We've seen them back down before. Remember the original Xbox One reveal where you couldn't trade used games? The public outcry was so loud they had to change everything. We are at a similar crossroads with Windows 10. If the outcry is loud enough, they might be forced to provide security updates for longer, or at least stop the poison pill updates that are currently breaking older systems. It's also worth noting the security risk this creates for the whole internet. If 20 or 30% of the world's computers stay on Windows 10 after updates stop, they will become a massive botnet army for hackers. By refusing to update these machines, Microsoft is actually making the internet less safe for everyone, including those on Windows 11. An unpatched computer is a gateway for malware that can spread through networks. It's a short-sighted move that prioritizes the sale of new laptops over the collective security of the digital world. Let's look at the financial side. Microsoft stock is doing great, largely due to their AI investments. But the hardware partners, the Dells and HPs of the world, are struggling. They need a refresh cycle. They need a reason for you to buy a new laptop. Microsoft's decision to kill Windows 10 updates through these lockouts is a massive gift to these hardware manufacturers. It's a way to force a refresh cycle that wouldn't have happened naturally. Most laptops from 5 years ago are still incredibly fast thanks to SSD technology. People don't have a reason to upgrade, so Microsoft is creating one. This hidden acceleration of the end-of-life process is a masterclass in corporate manipulation. They aren't saying Windows 10 is over today. They are just making it increasingly painful to stay. It's the boiling frog strategy. Slowly turn up the heat with failing updates, weird bugs, and annoying pop-ups until the user eventually jumps into the cool, safe water of Windows 11 and a brand new $1,000 PC. But a lot of frogs are starting to notice the heat, and they are angry. Bill Gates, through his foundation, often talks about sustainability and reducing global waste. Seeing his company's software be the primary driver of the largest increase in electronic waste in history must be a bitter pill to swallow. It contradicts everything he currently stands for in his public life. Whether he can or will do anything about it remains to be seen, but the internal friction is a clear sign that this move is not universally supported within the corridors of Redmond. Millions of users are currently at a crossroads. Do you accept the forced obsolescence, or do you fight back? The first step is awareness. Knowing that your update errors might not be a random glitch but a planned lockout is powerful. It allows you to make informed decisions about your next steps, whether that's moving to a different operating system, exploring the LTSC options, or simply joining the chorus of voices demanding that Microsoft do better. The story of Windows 10's early demise is a cautionary tale about the power of big tech. It shows how a few lines of code in a remote update can render your expensive hardware useless. It shows how the goals of a corporation can directly conflict with the needs of the planet and the rights of the consumer. This isn't just about an operating system. It's about who controls the tech in your life. Do you control it, or does the company that sold it to you? As we move closer to that October 2025 deadline, expect the pressure to ramp up. Expect more updates to accidentally fail on older machines. Expect more aggressive pop-ups, but also expect the community to get more creative in its resistance. From patchers that keep Windows 10 alive to new versions of Linux that look and act just like Windows, the options are growing. You don't have to be a victim of the hardware lockout. You don't have to let Microsoft tell you when your computer is finished. In the end, technology should serve us, not the other way around. The fury of the founders and the frustration of the millions of users locked out are a testament to a system that has lost its way. Windows 10 was a great operating system, and it deserves a better ending than this. It deserves to be supported as long as there is a significant user base that relies on it. Anything less is a betrayal of the trust that built the modern tech world. Keep your eyes on those update screens, keep your backups ready, and don't let the secret lockouts catch you off guard. The future of your hardware is in your hands, not just in an update server in Washington. The lockout is real, the bugs are often features in disguise, and the timeline is moving faster than ever. Millions are being left behind, but by staying informed and understanding the game being played, you can navigate this transition on your own terms. Don't let the millions locked out headline include you. Take control of your updates, investigate the alternatives, and remember that your computer belongs to you. No matter what a notification says, you decide when it's time for an upgrade. Stay vigilant, stay tech-savvy, and don't let the planned obsolescence machine win without a fight. The lights are dimming on Windows 10, but the conversation about our rights as users is just getting started.